Hey friends, we're out here in the garden today. We're going to be setting out some tomatillas. So we've started to pull up our spring garden, which consists of our lettuces and some of our onions, which don't really do well in this Alabama heat because it is hot. So have decided to start a little series. We'll see if I keep up with it. I don't know. Called Wine Wednesday in the Garden. So I subscribe to a wine box that I get every couple of months. You can kind of decide when you want to get it. And they send you different wines. You take this quiz and they kind of tell you oh, this you probably would like. So today, this is an Argentinian red blend. I guess that's how you say it. Don't ask me how to pronounce that. I'm originally from South Alabama and my pronunciation is terrible. Anyway, so we're gonna have a glass of wine while we plant tomatillas. I think it would be kind of fun to share some little tips and tricks that I've learned. Also still learning. I feel like I learn something new at least every hour when I'm in the garden. And kind of share that with y'all because I feel like my generation maybe and people in their 20s and 30s and I guess even 40s are starting to get into gardening because honestly it's the best form of therapy that I have found. So anyway, let's get started. I'm going to open this up and pour a glass while I get my tomatillas ready to plant. Okay, so here's first taste because obviously we have to make sure the wine tastes good before we get started on our little educational session. That's actually pretty good. I like it. It doesn't have really a big aftertaste, which don't love a wine with an aftertaste, but that's just me. I tend to gravitate toward Pinot Noirs, Willamette Valley Pinot Noirs. I've never had a bad one. So that's kind of what I get. I naturally just get. They're a little bit more expensive than the Napas. But yeah, anyway, so let's get to going. So one of the things I really like to do is seed my own plants. Because I feel like you can just get a little bit of a better variety, and two, it's cheaper. So we're very fortunate that we know a couple of nurseries that are in our area or not far from us that sell really good plants. And that's where we get a lot of our tomato plants and stuff. But it is hard to find, it's hard to find fun stuff in our area as far as plants go. So I like to order seeds. I can link some of these seeds on there. One of the companies that I found this year that I really like is Baker Creek. They have a lot of fun heirloom plants, which I love heirloom plants. And two, I don't know, I just love a fun plant. Obviously grow stuff to sell because we do farmers markets, but I also like to grow things that spark joy for me. I bought these cups from Amazon early this spring when I started planting some things, and they're actually reusable cups. So they're little black cups. I can link them. But I seeded these a few weeks ago and they came up. So I put mine in bags and create kind of a natural greenhouse thing, which I think I'll do a video on that at some point. But these are just fun because you can reuse them. They're really sturdy and they're not those little cheap plastic things. And then you could buy the crate to carry them in. So that's really nice to have if you're carrying a garden or you're trying to move a bunch of plants. So these are our tomatillas. We have a couple of different kinds that we planted. We planted a purple tomatilla, and I'll link all of this stuff so y'all can see it and order it if you're interested. And then we also planted a normal tomatilla. My husband really likes, my husband and I both really like green salsa, or salsa verde. And so we plant tomatillas to make that. But anyway, so one of the things I do before I plant is I'll get one of these large Tupperware containers. This one's kind of old. You can see it's broken. And I will put a little bit of fertilizer in the bottom, which I use personally. I like Miracle-Gro, but you can use whatever you want to use. I put Miracle-Gro in the bottom and then fill it with water, and while I'm waiting to plant and stuff, I will soak my plants in the Miracle-Gro, so it kind of gives them an extra fertilizer before they get planted. We're transitioning into our late summer, or what we call late crop. So I have already I like to use shade cloth. We have a lot of grass. There's actually a funny story. There's a lot of sod farms around us because it grows so well here. So we fight grass constantly throughout the summer. We obviously don't spray. We till, pretty consistently, at least a couple times a week. And, anyway, so I'd already put my shade cloth down for where my lettuce was and have my holes dug. And the good thing is that those plants have like rooted, and so it's created a little bit of like oxygen in the ground, and it helps like bring the next crop back. So you kind of like rotate your crops through. The area we're going to be planting in today is a very shaded area in the afternoon. So I was going to see how the tomatillas do on this side of the garden, because my tomatoes are on the other side, which don't get shade until about this time of day, which is like 6:30. So we'll see. I already have my soaker hoses down. I like to use soaker hoses to water with because, this is not my full-time job, and I usually only have a few hours in the afternoon and a few off days a week to like water really good. So soaker hoses are my friend. Kind of see through here, the holes that are already planted. There's a couple of cabbages that I set out kind of late through here, and I'll just kind of intermingle those in. But then it has our soaker hose on top. We did do a trial of the soaker hose on the bottom, which I don't recommend. I've seen some farms do that, but then you don't know if your soaker hose is working. And unfortunately this soaker hose did not work, so then we had to put a new one on top. And I just left the one on the bottom, and I will get it up when we pull all this up, because A, I don't have time, and B, it's down there and there's still squash planted at the other end. So we'll take our shovel, and I just kind of like to get all this kind of broken up and, you know, just kind of stir and loosen up the dirt, because you want your roots, once they start to go down, to have a good place to kind of, you know, go down and stuff. When I planted the lettuce in the early spring, I put some like potting mix in here, and you can still see kind of there's some of the remnants of that. I watered this area yesterday, so it looks like it's super not dry, but it is very dry here, so that's what we're seeing. I like to go ahead and put in a little bit of extended release like fertilize, and that I feel like just helps like with the longevity of the plant. You can kind of use whatever brand you want to use, but I just sprinkle a little bit in there. And then don't ever put this directly on the root of your plant, because it can burn. So I mix that in there, and that's like a time release, so it will like dissolve over time. So as I was saying, a lot of people will put just one plant per hole, but sometimes like I like to put two, just in case one doesn't take root, the other ones may. It's kind of just up to you that you have. You just kind of play with it and see what works for you. Everybody's soil is different, so it's kind of hard to say, hey, like this is what you should do and this is what you shouldn't do. You just kind of have to like learn your garden. A lot of people do raised bed gardening, which is a whole different, you know, monster. There are options to like test your dirt. I've never used one of those. I'm gonna be honest, I kind of asked my grandmother, who's like a guru when it comes to gardening, what she recommends, and she's never tested her soil, and she can basically grow anything you can think of. So anyway, I think this is fun, and I hope that I can do this more Wednesdays than just one Wednesday. And it's always fun to like share tips and tricks that I've learned along the way, because I feel like a lot of people aren't as fortunate and don't have a grandmother that can be like, okay, you need to do this or you need to do that. Or a dad. My dad's really good at gardening. And so I think it's just nice to share little tips and have a glass of wine in your garden, because you should make life fun. Anyway, so if anyone's interested in any of the things I've used, I can link them for you, or I can share the place I get my seeds from, because I feel like that they've been really good seeds, and everything I've planted from them has come up and not had issues. So yeah, if there's anything y'all want to learn or know about the farm or the garden, y'all feel free to put a comment or message me, because content is going to run short because I don't really know what to talk about. But anyway, this is also a really good bottle of wine, which is rare that the first bottle you pick is good, but this one was very good. If you're interested in the wine box subscription, message me and I can send you a code to save some money on it. It's really fun because it's like a little present every so many months. Anyway, so this has been fun. Thanks for coming with me to Wine Wednesday in the Garden. Yeah, have a good afternoon.